It's hard to describe the kind of transformation we've seen in David Woolley over the past couple of years without getting a little emotional, because this isn't just a story about weight loss or a man trying to get healthier in his 60s. No, this is about what happens when someone finally finds real peace after years of just existing. The David we see today is barely recognizable from the man we first heard about when Christine Brown started hinting at a new relationship. And trust me, that change didn't happen by accident. It happened because of love, the kind of love that restores the parts of you that life and other people slowly chipped away. Hi friends, I'm Sophia, and welcome back to TLC's Sister Wives Tales. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button because we're diving into real stories, raw emotions, and the moments TLC cameras can't always fully capture. And if you've ever rooted for Christine, if you've watched her journey from heartbreak to healing, make sure to give this video a thumbs up and leave your thoughts in the comments. I really want to know how you felt watching all this unfold, because before there was David, there was pain, there was Cody Brown, and there was Christine, stuck in a plural marriage where she constantly felt like an outsider. She spent years being polite, being patient, being quiet, waiting for the kind of affection that never came. And when she finally walked away from it all in 2021, it wasn't just a breakup. It was a complete rejection of the life she was expected to tolerate. That moment, when she said no more, was the start of everything, including the incredible story we're about to explore right now. Christine's decision to leave Cody wasn't some sudden outburst. It was years in the making. Anyone who's followed Sister Wives from the beginning could see it. The slow, painful unraveling of a woman who once believed in the dream of plural marriage. Christine gave everything she had to that family. She raised 6 kids. She moved when Cody asked. She sacrificed space, autonomy, and most of all, herself. And in return, she got crumbs of affection and an overwhelming sense of being unwanted. There were so many moments on the show where the cracks started to show. One of the most heartbreaking was during the one-on-one interviews in season 15. Christine broke down in tears, confessing how lonely she felt. She said she didn't feel like she had a say in her own marriage anymore, that Cody just wasn't interested in her. And the worst part? Cody didn't deny it. He said, plain and simple, he wasn't attracted to her anymore. That hit hard. You could see the pain in Christine's face. That was a woman who had finally heard her truth spoken out loud, and it hurt. But this wasn't just about rejection. It was about years of emotional erosion. Back when Mary had her catfishing scandal and the whole family was caught in the fallout, Christine stood by watching the dysfunction unfold and kept smiling. When Robin joined the family and became the obvious favorite, Christine swallowed her disappointment. When she voiced concerns, she was shut down or ignored, and all those little moments of being dismissed, disrespected, and devalued built up into something that no longer could be ignored. By the time she packed up her things and told Cody she was done, she wasn't angry, she was calm, almost too calm. And that's how you knew this wasn't rage, it was detachment, emotional exhaustion. She had nothing left to give, and that's what made her decision so powerful. She didn't slam the door. She quietly closed it and walked towards something better. And Christine didn't just leave Cody. She left behind the version of herself that tolerated that kind of neglect. She moved back to Utah to be near her adult children. She started focusing on her health. You could see it in her, the shift. Her energy changed. She looked lighter, freer, like someone finally breathing after being underwater for too long. And that it was only the beginning after everything Christine had been through. The heartbreak, the years of being second or even third priority. Love probably felt like a distant memory. So when she downloaded the Stir dating app, she wasn't necessarily looking for a fairy tale. She was just hoping to meet someone kind, someone who saw her, who listened, who didn't make her feel small. That's when David Woolley came into the picture. They met online in late 2022. Stir, for those who don't know, is a dating app made specifically for single parents, and that alone says a lot. Christine wasn't trying to play games. She was honest from the start about her past, her kids, and yes, the fact that she was once part of a plural marriage. And what makes David different, truly different, is that none of that scared him off. In fact, he embraced it. According to Christine, one of the first things that drew her to David was how steady and genuine he was. No ego, no judgment, just no warmth. In her interviews on Sister Wives, you can see her light up when she talks about him. And not in that overly performed reality TV way, but in the way someone does when they're not used to being cherished. It's raw, it's sweet, and it's healing to watch. Christine admitted she was nervous, and of course she was. How do you open your heart again after it's been broken so many times? How do you trust that this time it's real? There's one scene in particular where she tells the camera that David makes her feel seen, like she doesn't have to shrink herself to fit someone else's mold anymore. That moment was huge because for years, Christine had been bending and breaking to make her old marriage work. With David, she didn't have to. From their first in-person meeting, she described feeling safe, like she could breathe around him. They had a natural rhythm, laughing easily, talking for hours. What started with cautious optimism turned into something solid. It's a real relationship with shared values, respect, and affection. And when Christine introduced David to her kids, especially Truly, she said it just felt right. There was no forcing it. No awkward dance of convincing everyone to accept him. He fit in, not because he was trying to replace anyone, but because he genuinely cared. For Christine, meeting David wasn't just about falling in love again. It was about realizing she deserved that love in the first place. Before Christine and David could start building a life together, they had to start rebuilding themselves from the inside out. And for both of them, that meant one thing: getting serious about their health. This wasn't just about looking better, it was about feeling better, having more energy, reclaiming vitality that years of stress, heartbreak, and unhealthy habits had slowly chipped away. Let's start with David. When viewers were first introduced to him, David was kind, loving, but clearly carrying the wear and tear of years gone by. In his early 60s, he was open about the fact that he didn't feel his best. His weight had crept up, his energy was low, and he developed some concerning blood sugar levels. But here's what made the difference. Instead of hiding from it, he faced it head on. And he didn't do it alone. Christine, who had already been on a personal journey of transformation since her split with Cody, stepped in not to change David, but to support him. Together, they made small, sustainable choices that turned into major life shifts. In interviews and social media posts, Christine has talked about cutting out soda and processed sugar from their household. David had been a big soda drinker, and giving that up was a massive first step. But the results? Nothing short of incredible. By early 2025, David had lost over 25 pounds. Side-by-side photos showed a noticeable difference, it's not just in his size, but in his energy. He looked lighter, brighter, like someone who finally felt good waking up in the morning. Christine didn't just watch this happen, she guided it. From meal prepping clean, protein-rich dinners to suggesting supplements that had worked for her, Christine helped create an environment where change felt achievable. And she wasn't just preaching, she was living it. Christine herself had shed about 30 pounds over the course of her wellness journey. On the show, you could see her becoming more active, doing light workouts, hiking, and making time for self-care. She looked healthier, yes, but more than that, she looked joyful. That spark, the one we hadn't seen for years during her time with Cody, was finally back. Their days began to reflect this shared commitment. Mornings often started with smoothies and quiet moments on the patio. Evenings ended with walks. Nothing dramatic, just simple movement, shared steps, quiet laughter. They weren't chasing youth, they were embracing longevity, living with more intention. And what's beautiful is how their love and health journey became completely intertwined. They motivated each other. If one of them had a tough day, the other would pick up the slack. If David slipped and craved something sugary, Christine would remind him why he started. And in those moments where progress felt slow, they'd look back at how far they'd already come. On Instagram, Christine shared side-by-side progress shots, not as a way to boast, but to inspire. She captioned one of them saying, "This isn't about weight, it's about freedom. Freedom from old patterns, from feeling stuck, from believing it's too late to change." That message struck a chord with thousands of followers, many of whom had been watching Christine for over a decade on Sister Wives. Her transformation, and now David's, wasn't just personal, it became something relatable, something real. And let's be honest, there's something incredibly powerful about a couple in their 50s and 60s saying, we're just getting started. That's what this was. A second chance, not just at love, but at health, peace, and partnership. And they were taking it step by step, side by side. In October 2023, Christine Brown and David Woolley took a monumental step forward in their relationship, a step that wasn't just about a wedding, but about reclaiming everything Christine had lost over the years. Their ceremony in the breathtaking red rocks of Utah was nothing short of a celebration of renewal. Surrounded by towering red cliffs, the couple exchanged vows in front of 330 guests. The landscape was grand, majestic, and symbolic of the massive transformation Christine had undergone in her life. But what truly caught attention, and perhaps even felt like an act of defiance, was who wasn't there. Despite the public nature of Christine's previous marriages, none of her former family members from the Sister Wives clan were invited. No Cody, no Janelle, no Mary or Robin. For once, this wasn't a family affair. This was Christine's moment, her new chapter, and it was only right that she would surround herself with the people who had stood by her and supported her through it all. Her children, her friends, and of course, David. And let's be real, this moment meant everything to Christine. After years of emotional suppression, of being forced into a mold that never quite fit her, she was finally standing in the spotlight on her own terms, no longer defined by the weight of her past marriage, her polygamous journey, or the expectations placed on her by others. It wasn't just a wedding. It was Christine reclaiming her identity. Think about it. This wasn't just about a love story with David. It was the culmination of Christine learning to love herself, choosing herself, and recognizing that she deserves to be seen, celebrated, and cherished. No longer hidden in the shadows of Cody's other wives or his mistreatment, she was finally on display as the powerful, independent, and vibrant woman she had always been, but perhaps never allowed herself to be fully. Then, the honeymoon in France. What better way to mark the beginning of a new life than by escaping to one of the most romantic places in the world? For Christine and David, their trip wasn't just about sightseeing or indulging in the beautiful French culture. It was about serenity. It was about taking that long-awaited breath, standing side by side, knowing they had made it through so much together, and that their future was filled with promise. The honeymoon was a moment of healing, of basking in the joy of their commitment to each other, a quiet escape from the world, and a symbolic reset from all the pain Christine had endured. After years of heartbreak and struggle, Christine was finally able to look at her life with David and say, "This is where I belong." And there, among the historic streets of Paris and the vineyards of France, Christine felt more at peace than she had in years. In October 2023, Christine Brown and David Woolley took a monumental step forward in their relationship, a step that wasn't just about a wedding, but about reclaiming everything Christine had lost over the years. Their ceremony in the breathtaking red rocks of Utah was nothing short of a celebration of renewal. Surrounded by towering red cliffs, the couple exchanged vows in front of 330 guests. The landscape was grand, majestic, and symbolic of the massive transformation Christine had undergone in her life. But what truly caught attention, and perhaps even felt like an act of defiance, was who wasn't there. Despite the public nature of Christine's previous marriages, none of her former family members from the Sister Wives clan were invited. No Cody, no Janelle, no Mary or Robin. For once, this wasn't a family affair. This was Christine's moment, her new chapter, and it was only right that she would surround herself with the people who had stood by her and supported her through it all, her children, her friends, and of course, David. And let's be real, this moment meant everything to Christine. After years of emotional suppression, of being forced into a mold that never quite fit her, she was finally standing in the spotlight on her own terms. no longer defined by the weight of her past marriage, her polygamous journey, or the expectations placed on her by others. It wasn't just a wedding. It was Christine reclaiming her identity. Think about it. This wasn't just about a love story with David. It was the culmination of Christine learning to love herself, choosing herself, and recognizing that she deserves to be seen, celebrated, and cherished. No longer hidden in the shadows of Cody's other wives or his mistreatment, she was finally on display as the powerful, independent, and vibrant woman she had always been, but perhaps never allowed herself to be fully. Then the honeymoon in France. What better way to mark the beginning of a new life than by escaping to one of the most romantic places in the world? For Christine and David, their trip wasn't just about sightseeing or indulging in the beautiful French culture. It was about serenity. It was about taking that long-awaited breath, standing side by side, knowing they had made it through so much together, and that their future was filled with promise. The honeymoon was a moment of healing, of basking in the joy of their commitment to each other, a quiet escape from the world, and a symbolic reset from all the pain Christine had endured. After years of heartbreak and struggle, Christine was finally able to look at her life with David and say, "This is where I belong." And there, among the historic streets of Paris and the vineyards of France, Christine felt more at peace than she had in years. Christine Brown has become an unlikely but powerful role model for many, particularly when it comes to the real-life challenges of aging, weight loss, and personal growth. Over the past few years, as she has gone through a transformation physically, emotionally, and mentally, she's been completely open about her journey. On her social media, Christine doesn't sugarcoat the difficulties of weight loss, especially when it comes to the challenges women face as they get older. In her posts, Christine has been raw about how aging affects her metabolism, how much harder it is to shed pounds in her 50s, and how frustrating it can be when your body doesn't respond the way it used to. She's shared the reality of those moments when progress feels slow, when the results are harder to see, and when you have to fight not just your own body, but the pressures of a society obsessed with unrealistic expectations of women. But what Christine does differently from most is that she doesn't pretend everything is perfect. She shows the effort, the small victories, and most importantly, she shows the choice she made, the choice to prioritize herself, her health, and her happiness. Christine's transparency has resonated with so many of her followers, particularly those in similar life stages who see in her a reflection of their own struggles and aspirations. It's easy to look at celebrities or influencers who seem to have it all together and think, "I'll never get there." But Christine is proof that real transformation isn't about perfection. It's about making consistent choices, having the patience to push through setbacks, and most of all, being kind to yourself in the process. Her journey isn't about an overnight success story. Instead, it's about showing up every day, even when the going gets tough. And that's what makes her so inspiring. Christine isn't just inspiring people because of her success. She's inspiring them because of the realness of it all. She's letting everyone know that getting to a healthier place, whether it's physically, emotionally, or mentally, doesn't happen by magic. It happens because you put in the work and you keep going no matter how long it takes. In a world where so many people hide their struggles behind filters or only show their best moments, Christine stands out. She's proving that change is possible no matter your age, your past, or how long the road seems. How it's about showing up for yourself and knowing that you're worth the effort. In March 2024, the Brown family was struck by a tragedy that rocked the entire community, the death of Garrison Brown. Garrison, who had been a prominent figure in the Sister Wives series, was the son of Janelle and Cody Brown. His passing left a deep void within the family and sent shockwaves through viewers, many of whom had followed his life from a distance over the years. It was a heartbreaking moment for the family, and particularly for Janelle, who had already faced significant emotional struggles in her own life. Her grief was palpable, and you could feel the weight of it as she navigated the loss of her son. But the tragedy was not just about the pain of losing Garrison, it was also about the way the family chose to handle his memory, especially on television. In the aftermath of Garrison's death, fans were quick to voice their concerns over how Cody presented his grief on screen. For many viewers, his portrayal came across as self-centered, and it seemed like he was more focused on his own narrative than on the loss itself. While Janelle's grief was intense and raw, Cody's monologue about the death seemed almost out of place. His words appeared less about honoring his son and more about his own feelings of inadequacy and his attempts to come to terms with his role in the family. The response from fans was swift and vocal. They took to social media to express their outrage, feeling that Cody's monologue overshadowed the true emotional weight of Garrison's death. Instead of using the moment to pay respect to Garrison's life and legacy, it seemed as though the focus was diverted to Cody's emotional journey, leaving many feeling that the tragedy was exploited for the sake of the show's drama. Fans were angry and saddened by this as they believed that Garrison's memory deserved more than a platform for Cody to express his personal struggles. Garrison was more than just a figure on a reality show. He was a son, a brother, and a person with his own life, dreams, and struggles. His death should have been a moment for the family to come together to honor him, to share the love they had for him, and to remember who he truly was. But the way it was handled on screen felt like it minimized his role in the family, and it was painful for many to witness. Garrison's memory deserves to be honored for what he truly represented, a beloved family member, a young man who had his own journey, and a person whose life mattered. His loss is felt deeply by his family and by those who knew him, and it should be remembered for its emotional depth, not just as a dramatic moment for a reality show. Christine and David's journey isn't just a love story. It's a story about second chances, deep healing, and the power of choosing a life that finally feels right. From Christine's years of quiet suffering in a marriage where she felt unseen, to stepping into a world where her love, energy, and light could truly thrive, what we've witnessed is nothing short of a full emotional rebirth. And David? He didn't come in to save her. He met her where she was, messy past, public divorce, emotional wounds and all, and walked beside her, not in front of her. That's the difference. That's what makes their bond feel so genuine. Together, they've rebuilt not only their health and daily life, but also their self-worth. It wasn't about perfection. It was about effort, real effort, whether it was giving up sugar together or standing on a rocky Utah cliff, promising to never dim each other's light. They've shown us what healing with someone looks like in real time. They've lived it publicly, messily, and beautifully. And for Christine, who was once stuck in a marriage that fed her insecurities and left her constantly seeking approval, this love has given her freedom. She's not trying to prove anything anymore. She's just living and loving on her own terms. Their story reminds us that it's never too late to start over. You're never too far gone to find joy again. Whether that means leaving behind toxic relationships, prioritizing your health, or finally asking for the kind of love you know you deserve, it's all possible. Christine did it in her 50s after years of being told her feelings were secondary. And look at her now. So now it's your turn. What part of Christine and David's journey has stuck with you the most? Was it her walking out of the Flagstaff house, the Instagram posts about her weight loss, their wedding photos? I'd love to hear what moved you. Drop your thoughts in the comments, like and share this with someone who needs a reminder that healing is possible. And if you're new here, don't forget to subscribe. I'm Sophia, and this is TLC's Sister Wives Tales. Let's keep telling the real stories.